And the world is filled with religions. We got Muslims, we got Buddhists, we got Mormons, we got Jehovah's Witnesses, Christian Science, Catholics. Christianity is the predominant religion in America. And because of that, when people began to act religiously, most of them end up in a Christian church. But they don't have a relationship with the Christ of that church. And so the question this morning would be, do you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, or are you just practicing your religion by being here today? Are you just practicing your religion? That's what these folks were doing. Now, I have had a problem in the ministry, and my problem in the ministry is I would keep getting people who were some of the best people in my church saved. They would get saved. When I was a young guy, probably around 30, I went up to we were between churches. I went up to the Sunday school superintendent over the entire church. We ran about 2,000 at that church, and I asked, do you have a Sunday school class for me to teach? Now, his jaw about dropped. He didn't get asked that. He goes and looks for people. I went looking for him and found him and said, I want to teach a class. He put me in a class, and he put a guy with me, a Sunday school director named Dennis Brown. And we were doing great. He was a great Sunday school director. And then one Sunday, Dennis Brown went to the front of the church and got saved. He went down there and said, I've been a hypocrite. I've been just play acting I've been religious all my life. I grew up and I was told to do this, and this is how you do church. He said, I've never really known Jesus Christ. And Dennis Brown got saved. One of my best deacons in Missouri, a guy named Henry Green, took off vacation to do a VBS every year. Just a sweet, sweet guy. He came up to me and said, you know what? I'm lost. I finally realized I'm lost. I got to baptize him. My best deacon, I got to baptize him. Then I had a young man in the other side of Missouri. He was such a great young man. Wonderful father, wonderful family. He was so great that we made him the interim youth pastor. Lo and behold, he went and got saved himself. He came forward, gave his life to Christ. He said, I've been able to... He was such a nice guy, you just think he's Christian just because he's such a nice guy. This guy named Chad Ford. And he said that he had been playing a really big game. He finally realized it because he was finally getting convicted of his sins. Imagine the shock at First Baptist Church of Norman, Oklahoma, when their own pastor came forward during his own invitation. Years ago, a preacher Halleck came forward and gave his life to Jesus Christ after his own sermon. There are a lot of moral people. There are a lot of good people in this world. A lot of people that look more Christian than people that are showing up in churches. They're just basically good folks, and sometimes we put a stamp on them and say, you're just a good person. You must be a Christian. We have people who are faithful, they serve, they're moral individuals, and they're tithers. Tithers get saved. Do you know that? Pharisees were tithers. They need to get saved big time. But you can be all those things, very religious, and yet not know Jesus Christ. You can have enough sense and training in the Word of God, in moral areas of life, to be able to point out all the wrong things. Things that shouldn't be happening. How lives should change. And you can get so caught up in knowing so much about those things that you assume that you're okay with God. Just because you're a little ahead of some other folks in moral knowledge. And your aptitude to maybe be a little less rebellious in life and accepting of the rules and things.